Hello and welcome to Eye on Lower Merion. I'm Mark Murray. Well, we're out of the studio and on the streets, exploring the interesting places and sights in Lower Merion. Today, we're going to take a look down the tracks and the trail of Ballard Kinwood's newest restored jam. That's right, we're talking about the Kinwood Station. Well, as we mentioned, the Kinwood Station is nearing the end of a lengthy and substantial renovation. As we'll see, this 1890s railroad station had quite a past. Some of it's hard to believe, but through the hard work and dedication of Lower Merion Historical Society, in partnership with Lower Merion Township, it has regained its former glory, and now serves both its original purpose and as trailhead for the Kinwood Heritage Trail. So let's take a look inside, and who better to show us than the president of the Historical Society, Jerry Francis.
Well, Mark, how you doing? Welcome to the Kinwood train station.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, Jerry.
Come on in, I'll show you around.
Thank you. So, what makes the Kinwood Station important to us?
I think it's important for Lower Merion's history, and let me put things in context first, and then we'll get into what's been happening here for the last 5 years. Lower Merion is a railroad community. We've been defined as the main line, and I think the more popular railroad here in Lower Merion is what was called the Paoli Local, or more recently the R5, but it is from Overbrook out further west. Going back before that railroad was built, we were a farming community. The Philadelphia-Columbia Railway, the main line of the Public Works of Pennsylvania, built that line west. They sold it to the Pennsylvania Railroad in 1857. Then the Pennsylvania Railroad by 1870 renamed all the villages here in Lower Merion. So we suddenly have Merion, Narberth, Wynwood, Ardmore, Haverford, Bryn Mawr, to make it into a premier suburban community. So all the farmland developed into the villages that we have today. The same thing happened here in 1884. The Pennsylvania Railroad built another railroad, which is kind of, we want to rediscover its history. So yes, that was an important railway up there. It went east-west across Lower Merion. This one went north-south. Okay. So what the president of the Pennsylvania Railroad, George Brooke Roberts, who grew up here in Lower Merion, he decides to build this freight line from Philadelphia up to Shamokin, Pennsylvania. And from there, the Shamokin lines connected up to Wilkes-Barre. Oh, wow. And the reason for that is they wanted to bring in anthracite coal into industrial Philadelphia to service the factories, the steamships, things like that, because it was a better quality coal. So this was a freight line that went through farmland. Okay. Then they decided to build stations along here, the Bow, the Barmouth, the Kinwood, etc. And then the communities built around those stations, just like they did up on the main line. So if you look at the housing stock in this area, they all date about 1900, 1920, because suddenly there's a station here. So we want to rediscover the heritage of the Kinwood train station, because this is, you know, communities are always centered around the train station. This is the forgotten line. Now, I want to let you know it's still an active line, run by SEPTA, but it's what they call a stub line. It goes from Philadelphia and stops here at Kinwood at the present. But the history of the line, we do have some pictures of what the station looked like. This is a photograph from 1910, what it looked like. It was not just a station, it was a depot in the sense that it was a large freight yard. Everything moved by rail. Because this, mail, coal, lumber, baggage, everything was by rail. So it was a very important area for the community. So it was a very prosperous station up until, I guess, in the 1940s, 1950s, and what happened there, the mode of transportation changed. Railroads declined, the use of railroads declined, and because now people have cars to get around, freight was moved by tractor trailer. We bring in the interstate highways like the Schuylkill Expressway, and the railroads are used less. So the railroad went into, I wouldn't say a decline, but went to strictly passenger. The station was kind of forgot about. The Pennsylvania Railroad was sold off to Conrail in the 70s. In the late 70s, it was run by Amtrak. And a new entity called SEPTA got the station in 1983.
Wow.
So SEPTA inherited this abandoned building.
Oh, wow.
So that's the problem. Right in the middle of the community here, we have an eyesore. It was crossroads of Conshohocken State Road, Montgomery Avenue. Did not look very good. It was unsavory. People using the commuter line were kind of scary to come down here. It just was not a good thing. And SEPTA inherited this problem. And again, the building said, well, we're in the transportation business. We're not going to put money to rehab a building. There's no ticket taker here, whatever. So it was finally the community got involved. SEPTA did a study on the building in regards what would be involved to repair it, to do a stabilization, and they said it was much too expensive. It probably was past its what they call tipping point.
Okay.
It was better just to let it fall down. I've seen cases of buildings like this fall down in the because it has brick walls, all the timbers are compromised.
Okay.
So if you get a heavy load of snow on the top, it will actually pancake.
Oh, wow.
There's one of these stations out in Trapp, Pennsylvania. It's exactly what happened. It's a brick station. The snow got on top, it came down, and all the brick walls just blew out.
What a loss.
So, they gave it 2 to 3 years before it would pancake. The problem with the building was it was in very bad condition. It was because we're in a holler here, a low area, the water always collected in the basement. So you always had 1 foot to 1.5 foot of water.
Wow.
It was filled with termites. All the joist beams had compromised and they were sinking. We had 3 fires that we knew of in the building that had compromised the structural integrity of the building. So finally, I think it was primarily up to the township decided we want to do something about this. Not for historic preservation, but for public health and safety.
Well, this is a monumental undertaking, isn't it?
Yeah. And it was done with all good intentions and with a vision I must talk about. I think the main person behind it was the president of the board at the time, Bruce Reed, and he went to SEPTA and says, would you lease this building to the township? $1 a year, which SEPTA agreed to. The township brought in Pennoni and Associates, the engineers, what's involved to stabilize it using SEPTA's work, and they said, this is really in bad shape. So the township stepped forward and decided to sublease the building to the Historical Society. We have experience of how to rehab these buildings in an economical way. So they leased it to us, and they gave us 2 grants. The first grant came from the Township of Lower Merion to help stabilize the building, and the Montgomery County Commissioners threw in the same amount of money to match it.
That's nice.
So suddenly we had enough money to match the grant. As we got into, we decided to go beyond the original scope in regards to let's just make it into a green building, and also make it into we had to go through the Historical Commission. So there's a lot of entities involved, and to really make this a very, very special building. So it's been stabilized. The Historical Commission is very happy with us with the type of roofing that we put on, and there's pole gutters, and they're concerned with the outside look. So it's very, very nice. And then we did a green initiative here.
Now, what do you mean by the green initiative?
Well, let's walk over here to this door would be a good example.
All right.
The basement walls had collapsed, so they had to actually jack up the building, and we went out into the abandoned track and brought in fieldstone. That's what they did in 1890, where they got it from. The wood here, all the joist beams, we recycled 45 to 55% of the old growth full cut lumber that was in the building, which is hemlock fir. And so we reused, instead of that going into a landfill, we reused it. All the doors and windows here in this area this is 1890. We took the doors apart, resistered the lumber that was left over, and put them back together. The hardware is original 1890. So the idea is recycling. The biggest one is the roof. To our surprise, it was a slate roof. We can't afford slate, the Historical Commission. And someone gave us, the roof is made out of polymers, recycled tires.
Oh, really?
And it's completely profiled, looks like slate.
Yes, it does.
Because the building's defined by the roof.
Right.
So it looks great.
Wow. That's
So I can go through another whole list of green initiatives that were here, but we found out that it was just as cost effective to rebuild and reuse as if we went out and bought new. Because something this size to have this is very expensive. So, but to have the original doors. We were trying to save the original station, so that's what we did here.
Not the original glass.
No, they had double pane glass. They had to rescribe the glass here, the windows, to put in double pane to make it energy efficient.
Very nice.
So there's a combination of things that's going on here.
I understand you're looking for a tenant for the first floor.
Yes, the first floor area is for lease. It's about 635 square feet, and we're looking for something that's trail related type of business. So.
I can see, yeah. 610-368-3851.
That's the contact person for our realtor, or you can also contact the Lower Merion Historical Society at 610-664-3216, or our website, lowermerionhistory.org.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. And also, don't forget, if you want to make a contribution to the capital campaign, you can also go to that website, lowermerionhistory.org. Well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to know a lot more about the Kidwood Station. Thank you, Jerry, for the inside tour. We'll see you on the outside.